do we stay centered and positive among negative people or environment?
That's big. You know, one of the ways that I try to do this in my own life and try to help other people is basically saying, okay, this is a really negative environment. And I could easily become like this. It's like a sick building. You can get sick along with the building. But the guiding question I try to have is, what do I want to look like in this negative place? What kind of person do I want to be like? And using that as the way, I mean, I was thinking about it for myself at one point in my life, really feeling very negative and cynical and thinking, cynicism and bitterness don't look good on me. And I don't like the way that looks on the people around me. I'm going to do everything I can not to be that way. And then, of course, there are many stories, and I've certainly seen it in the hospital and clinics and other places, where a person is the holdout. They don't go along with the negativity. They hold on and they're positive. They reach out to people. They listen to people. They reach out to the customers, even though the place is a very demeaning place. I remember a man who said, you know, this place is really tough on everybody. But what I do to keep myself centered is I say, how can I be the best possible person to the next customer? They're my ministry. They're the people that I should focus on. And that's the way they kept going. But there's no doubt that that's a very hard thing to do. And at a certain point, going back to Sharon's point about courage, you have to be able to discern, how long should I be in this place? And should I move on because of what it's doing to me? But on the other hand, maybe the courage also to go against that force.
When you do find yourself in that kind of situation, I think that each one of us can make a very real difference. And we all throw out an energy. And so making sure that the energy is positive and staying connected to that higher meaning or those values that you want to stand for in the world and in your workplace.
You know, at the heart of both of your comments really are the issues of love and suffering. Can you talk a little bit about how those figure into this search for meaning?
Well, it's a process, it's a journey, and it's very much a part of the human experience, I believe. And so that plays out in our play life and our private lives as well as our professional lives. And so I think that it's something that when you have those tough times and those challenging times, and then you experience something that's more rewarding, feels more positive, I think that you just appreciate all that more for having that full spectrum of the experience.
Some phrases we use on this are, what is your spirituality of caring, or what's your philosophy of caring? In other words, when you are in difficult times or working in very difficult situations, what keeps you going? What do you go back to in your faith, in your life, and the people that love you and whom you love? What do you use to keep giving you energy in that?
Can you talk a little bit, I know that you have very practical tools that you implement, both of you, in the areas where you're working, about how you get people to connect, say, for those deeper faith traditions and the values in those traditions that give them strength in suffering?
Well, one of the things I do is encourage people to look at their life like a story. And that things may be in really bad shape right now. You may be lost, you may think there's no meaning right now, and this is chapter 5 of your life. And people's holy scriptures are full of stories. And so one of the practices I invite people to do is to take a story of their lives, wherever they are at right now, like we just tried this project, the whole thing has fallen apart, the people who are guiding us in this project are gone, we've been bought out by another company, what are we going to do? And put that right next to a story in Scripture, like the road to Emmaus. We've lost our teacher, this whole project is worthless, nobody cares about it, everybody who is friends with us is against us now, and you put those two together and you let them work on each other. Sort of like, I haven't actually done this myself, but making fire with a piece of wood on stone with the embers around it, where our experience, our job is that stick, and we put it against the scriptures and we rub it together, and it inflames our experience. It helps us see our experience all differently, so that, hey, you know what? my life is a lot like the road to Emmaus right now, and I was also thinking of Gethsemane. My life feels like Gethsemane right now. And you put it right next to that story, and so that hooks you right into what comes right after that story.
In drawing on the paperclip story, I mean, there was an example of someone who really hadn't taken the time or made it a priority to introspect. So taking that time for yourself to pray, to meditate, to journal, to be still. In other words, to give yourself a chance just to connect with yourself is a practice that too often we don't value or we don't think to take the time to do. But actually, in those quiet moments, you really can have glimmers or insights or breakthroughs into, you know, the real purpose of my life is, I am here to accomplish thus and so.